What is going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden J here. What is going on, everyone? I hope we are all doing extremely well. I am most certainly doing well today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Before we get into started with all of today's stuff, please, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel, and of course, much more. In today's stream, we are going to be going over the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals series summary. Then we are going to be transitioning into the New York Mets and Philadelphia Phillies series preview. I definitely do want to talk about the hit by pitches, which have been going on for the Mets a lot. They've been getting drilled by the baseball. They are practically magnets. So I definitely do want to talk about that a little bit. And of course, as always, we are going to be going over all of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. I really do appreciate that. But before, like I said, we get started into all of today's stuff, please, everyone, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, it could be Mets, Orioles, anything related, don't hesitate. Feel free and drop it on in the comment section below. And of course, once I am done with my little rant, I will definitely go over your comment, question, or concern. So let's stop wasting any more time and let's talk about what went down with the New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals this series. So the New York Mets took 2 out of 3 games from the St. Louis Cardinals. This was a huge series win. I will say this was a very important and huge series win. If you guys were listening to my last stream, I pretty much came on here and said that this is going to be a very determining series. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's April. We're only like 2 weeks, 3 weeks in. But I said this is going to be a big series. This is going to determine a lot. The Cardinals are a really interesting team. They have speed. They have athleticism. They have above average defense. And the Mets showed they weren't messing around. Getting into game one. We had Mad Max Scherzer on the bump for the New York Mets, and Scherzer had a phenomenal start. The Mets won this game 5-2, by the way, but Max Scherzer had a phenomenal outing. Very impressive outing from Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer went 7 innings on the day, surrendering only 2 hits, 0 runs, a walk, and 10 strikeouts. Scherzer definitely did pitch a little, actually more than expected, going 101 pitches, 71 of those being in the strike zone. He had a phenomenal outing. Scherzer looked really well, mixing his pitches fine. Just overall, really, really no complaints there from Scherzer. He really held down the fort. Unfortunately, he didn't get much run support, but we'll get into how the offense kicked in a bit later. So Scherzer looked very, very good. I liked what we saw out of Max Scherzer. Following that, Trevor May came in, and Trevor May had an inning to pitch. And guess what happened? He did not look very good. Trevor May came in, going 1 inning, surrendering 3 hits, 2 runs, a walk, and a strikeout. His command to the zone wasn't there. He was giving up a lot of, base hits. Trevor May is an interesting character. I mean, he's looked really different so far than what was expected out of him when he used to play in Minnesota. I guess you could say his fastball isn't looking as meaty. Just looks like a completely different pitcher, I guess. So he unfortunately had a really rough outing, giving up those hits. Obviously, very rough outing. And then following that, going into the bottom of the 9th inning, we had Edwin Diaz only surrendering a walk and a strikeout. So Diaz looked phenomenal, avenged himself from his last save situation against the Diamondbacks, where he did blow that. But phenomenal outing from the pitching staff there. But things really didn't kick in until the 9th inning. And you guys are going to ask, hey, what happened in the 9th inning? And a lot of craziness happened this 9th inning. The New York Mets are down to their last batter, and that was Mccann. You have Mccann on, and obviously you do have Eduardo Escobar at second base. And what happens is Mccann reaches on a single to the third baseman, Nolan Arenado. And what happened? The 9-time Gold Glove Award winner and Platinum Gold Glove Award winner threw the ball away. Obviously, Paul Goldschmidt could not get that. That wasn't on Goldschmidt. That was obviously an Arenado. Unfortunate throw. I mean, took like 5 steps and then threw the ball and, from foul territory, trying to make one of those, a dominant elite plays that I'm guessing he likes to make, and that's fine. But unfortunately, that gave up a run. And then you had the tying run on first. Following that, obviously, Jankowski substituted, obviously. Jeff McNeil came in following that, and Jeff McNeil came up to bat, and he got a double down the line. McNeil coming into clutch. And then, obviously, they had Jankowski be the runner for Canna, and then you had runners on second and third. And what happened? Dominic Smith hit a light little blooper, not a blooper, but a ground ball blooper to the first baseman. And, of course, Gallegos was not covering the bag, and he couldn't get there in time. And that allowed the Mets to take the lead on a 3-2 ball game. And then following that, he was taken out. Brandon Nimmo hits a 2-run homer to right field to drive him and Dominic Smith in. That's a shocker. You don't see Nimmo with the power as much. So Nimmo's power has been looking really interesting so far this season. He has 3 home runs on the season, tied with Pete Alonso. So, really impressive to see Nimmo's power increase. I know Nimmo's swing is, he wants to swing the bat more, and who knows, maybe that'll benefit him. We'll see. So Mets took this game 5-2. Getting into game 2, another phenomenal outing. We had Chris Bassett on the bump for the New York Mets. And obviously with Chris Bassett on the bump, going 6 innings, surrendering 2 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. Looked pretty well. Fastball slider combination was pretty nice out of Bassett. Really no complaints from Bassett there. Following that, we had Drew Smith come in. Drew Smith has been a dominant reliever so far this season. Obviously, he's coming off of a huge bounce-back season where he didn't get a whole lot of time playing, I guess, the last couple of years due to Tommy John. But he has yet to give up a run this season, so that's pretty good. Following that, we had Anovito come in. Nice, immaculate. Well, not immaculate, but struck out 2 batters. And then, of course, Edwin Diaz came in for the save, looking pretty good there. In terms of this Mets offense, kind of quiet, but they definitely got the job done. Early on in the 3rd inning, we had James Mccann had an RBI double to deep center field to drive in Jeff McNeil. And I guess talking on the note of that, James Mccann has been looking really interesting these last couple at bats. Obviously, he had that 450+ home run in Arizona. But that aside, that ball arguably was almost gone. I mean, Mccann has been hitting really hard contact to center field, to straightaway center. And that's been looking really interesting for him. Hopefully Mccann can keep doing that because, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's going to be a power hitter, but Mccann definitely has some power where he can go off and express a couple things. So who knows? Maybe Mccann could be a really interesting bat, maybe to pick up. You hope. We'll see. I'm not, too highly on that. Following that, Starling Marte had an RBI single to left, 2 runs to drive in Mccann and Nimmo. And then in the 9th inning, Starling Marte got hit by a pitch to drive in Travis Jankowski. The New York Mets pick up this game 3-0. And getting into yesterday's game, which I guess was the biggest storyline, the Mets lost this game. And I guess it wasn't really the loss. It was more what happened towards the end of the game. So in this game, we had Carlos Carrasco on the bump. Carrasco's been looking good so far this season until this outing. Going 3.2 innings pitched, surrendering 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, only going 78 pitches overall. Carrasco definitely had a little trouble, flattening his fastball. I don't want to sit here and say, oh, he got a little unlucky, but I will say he definitely got batted, some batted balls around. So, kind of got a little unfortunate there, but it happens. It happens. What are you going to say? But overall, not the best outing for Carrasco. Following that, Sean Reed-Foley came in, 1.2 innings pitched, surrendering 2 hits, a walk, or an earned run, and a strikeout. This guy's probably going to get sent down once the rosters are shortened by 2 players, so I'm not really going to say much about him. Chasen Shreve came in to get out of Reed-Foley's little incident, only allowing a hit, 2 strikeouts, fair. And then, of course, what really started what happened in this game was Yon Lopez. The New York Mets picked him up from the Arizona Diamondbacks just a couple weeks ago, the 29-year-old bullpen arm who had a pretty solid outing, I guess, nothing crazy to say. Going total of 2 innings, surrendering 4 hits, an earned run, 3 strikeouts. Okay, nothing bad. In terms of this Mets offense, obviously, it was quiet in the 2nd inning. Tomas Nido had an RBI double to center, bringing in Pete Alonso, Eduardo Escobar. Following that, Brandon Nimmo had a double to center, driving in Guillorme and Nido. And then, of course, in the 7th inning, Francisco Lindor had an RBI double to deep center to bring Starling Marte in. So I guess what comes into question right now is what happened at this game. Obviously, there was a benches clearing brawl. What happened was, I'm sure most of you guys know, but pretty much what happened was we had Yon Lopez on the mound for the New York Mets, and what happened was he pitched a little high and in, I guess, to Arenado, and Arenado didn't take super keen on that. Obviously, we do know probably, I don't know, 10 minutes before this situation happened, what happened? Well, J.D. Davis got hit on a 3-2 pitch, and he had been taken out of the game. Unfortunate way to spend your birthday, I will say, for the least. But he had to get taken out, and I don't know if that was in retaliation because of that or if that was a move on Showalter. I don't think it was. And then, obviously, Arenado didn't take too big on that. Arenado was not super fond of that, and he decided to charge the mound. Well, not charge the mound, but make his way towards charging the mound. The umpire got in between Arenado and supposedly the pitcher. Tomas Nido tried to get in the way. Arenado pushed Nido, and then that's kind of where things pushed on from there. There wasn't so much punches thrown. It was more just shoving and more so talk. So, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it was bad. If there is going to be any suspensions, I think maybe Arenado. Keep in mind, it didn't even hit you. For starters, I mean, did you see Alonso the night before? Dude got drilled in the helmet. If anyone's going to make the case, it's him. He kind of incited it. I mean, he pushed Nido and then, pretty much went towards the pitcher's mound. So what is that supposed to mean? So unfortunate, kind of unfortunate move by Arenado. He definitely has been known to charge the mound in Colorado, but unfortunate move by him. Hopefully he learns from that, and we'll talk about the consequences of the hit by balls later on. I do definitely want to go over that. But getting into this New York Mets and Philadelphia Phillies series preview, we got a lot going on. So tomorrow, obviously today is an off day, but tomorrow the New York Mets will be facing the Philadelphia Phillies. A huge, interesting matchup. Obviously, the Phillies, as of right now, most likely can possibly be sweeping the Colorado Rockies. We'll see how today's game goes for the Philadelphia Phillies. But in terms of tomorrow's game, it will be 7-10. The New York Mets are back home for a short-term home stretch. And for the New York Mets, we will have Tylor Mcgill on the bump. I will say Tylor Mcgill has been looking pretty solid for this Mets ball club. It's his first full season that he's trying to get in the books, and he's been looking really well. Mcgill currently has a win-loss record of 3-0, 2.35 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, 23 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts, and he's only given up 2 home runs. So the long ball has definitely chilled out with him. Mcgill has been looking really interesting. Movement on his pitches. The velocity has been going up. He's been throwing 98, 99 miles per hour. He's really starting to mix out his pitches a lot more. We know last year his arsenal wasn't as big as what it is now. He has more pitches, more secondary pitches that he is using. So I think that's going to be phenomenal for, I guess, his success down the line. So hopefully our friend Tylor Mcgill will continue to use the secondary pitches. The high whiff rate, the swing and miss rate has been pretty big, I will say, for Mcgill. So fingers crossed, we'll see. Hopefully he has a good series against the Phillies. I will say Phillies lineup has been waking up a little bit more. I will say that. So we'll see how that goes. And then obviously they will have Aaron Nola on the bump for the Philadelphia Phillies. Getting into game 2 of this series. Getting into game 2. This will be Saturday's game. And we will have Tywin Walker on the bump versus Aaron Nola. Obviously, Tywin Walker currently does not have a win-loss record, 0 ERA, 0 WHIP, only pitched 2 innings and 4 strikeouts this season. He is coming back from an injury, yes, with the hip. The shoulder. He did make an A-ball start, looked pretty good, went awesome in that. Really no complaints out of Walker. He probably will have a pitch count, keep in mind. So I guess don't get too upset if you see Walker get taken out early. But we'll see. If Walker's, only throwing, 10 to 12 pitches an inning, maybe hopefully he can go 6 innings. The bullpen has kind of been given a little bit of a rest. So maybe that is a possibility of seeing Tywin Walker go a little bit more innings, but we'll see with Walker. Like I said, the injuries is what you got to watch with Walker. This is a dude who's only pitched 3 innings in 3 years. 30 innings in 3 years, not naming last year. So, I mean, we're just going to have to see so far overall, I mean, how things are going to go for Tywin Walker. I guess you could kind of hope that he can get into his rhythm well. The splitter slider could be something for him. He's been throwing the splitter slider very hard compared to last season. So I guess if you're Tywin Walker, you kind of just hope that you can get that splitter slider on point, the strikeouts there, and keep the ball on the ground. I guess that's really what I would just say in terms of Tywin Walker's outing this upcoming Saturday. And then obviously getting into the final game of this series, Sunday Night Baseball, which will be a really interesting outing. Obviously, the Mets are back on Sunday Night Baseball. Really interesting game here. And who yet to have than Mad Max Scherzer himself. Currently, Scherzer is 3-0 in the season, a 1.80 ERA, 0.76 whip, 25 pitches, total of 33 strikeouts. So obviously, it's no secret what Max Scherzer is capable of. I mean, above average pitcher. I mean, amazing. We don't really need to go over a scouting report. So that'll be that game. That will be a Sunday night ESPN game. So super exciting to see out of that. A couple guys, I guess, to look out for this series. I guess could be obviously Jeff McNeil has been looking really good so far. Pete Alonso's been hitting the ball the other way. So a couple guys to name. Alonso. Escobar's been picking up his bat lately. So Mets bats are definitely here to play. So now let's get into all of your guys' comments, questions, and concerns. If you guys do have that, please do not hesitate and drop your thoughts below. But let's greet everyone in the chat. What's going on, everyone? Nick, how are you doing? Matthew says off day for the Mets. Can't wait for the action this weekend. Let's go Mets. Absolutely, man. I cannot wait for all this action to go on with the Mets. Super exciting. I'm excited. Sorry. Anovito says, hey, bro, let's go Mets. Absolutely. Jack in the Box, how are you doing? Logan, what's going on? Peter says he's back. How are you doing, Hayden? Big series win. You know it, Peter. Appreciate you tuning in. Kobe, what's going on? Marco, Trey, Connor, how's it going? This is an interesting question. So Connor is going to ask us who has been the Mets MVP so far for these 20 games. Honestly, it's kind of tough. I mean, it's only been 20 games. I mean, I would say that the New York Mets helmet. Nah. In terms of a player, I would probably argue Jeff McNeil. McNeil's been a pretty big piece to this offense. Yeah, I would say Jeff McNeil. McNeil's been looking really good offensively. I would like to say Lindor, but the last two series, he took a little bit of a dive. Nothing too worrying, but I want to take that into consideration. I'd say McNeil probably. In terms of the, I guess, pitching, because maybe I'll give a bat and a pitcher. So obviously McNeil for the offense. In terms of, I guess, pitcher, I'd probably say Tyler Mcgill. I mean, picking up that spot that Jacob Degrom has missed is huge. I mean, you probably could say Max Scherzer too. Anovito says, hey, Hayden, great series against the Cardinals. 2 of 3 is great. Can't believe the Mets have won their past 6 series. Yeah, I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean, the last time the Mets, have won, I mean, that many series in a row with the exclusion of 1986, and we know what happened that year. They won the World Series. Obviously, 2015, they got to the World Series, lost to the Royals. And, of course, 2018, they did start off really hot. I think they started off like 14-1, which was really something. But this is a different year, obviously. 2018 is much different. But, yeah, I will say Mets, I mean, winning their first 6 series is really something big. So, big, obviously, outing there for the Mets. They've been looking pretty well, I will say. Seth, what's going on? Trey says McNeil's struggle last year was more mental than anything. When he is playing how we expect him to play. He makes a huge impact. Jeff McNeil's back to playing like his all-star self. Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I agree with you 100%, Trey. I think right now, if you look at Jeff McNeil, he got rid of that launch angle nonsense swing, and that's been huge for him. And I agree with you. I think a lot of it definitely was a mental thing last year. I agree with you. I think it definitely had to have been a mental thing. I mean, we saw him at the plate. I mean, this dude was getting triggered over every little thing. Yeah, it's no secret McNeil really struggled mentally last year. And listen, that's unfortunate. And he seems happy now. I will say, like, you see his press conferences, he's smiling. I mean, he's joking around. Him and Lindor had a miscommunication error yesterday, and they were laughing about it. They weren't, strangling each other in the dugout. Yeah, McNeil looks much happier and much like his 2019 All-Star self. I will agree with you on that. Kobe says, I will admit 19 hit by pitchers in 20 games is a joke. MLB needs to tackle this issue before a player gets seriously hurt from this. It's one thing if those guys are getting hit by a slider. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that, Kobe. And I think the biggest thing is, I think MLB should handle this. And people say, well, what is MLB supposed to do? For starters, stop changing the damn baseballs. I'm tired of this juiced ball, dented ball, dead ball crap, because it's probably one affecting how pitchers are going to throw. How fast the ball is going to travel, the movement on the pitches. Yeah, of course that's going to have a play. So you have the MLB constantly changing the damn baseball. And another thing, when you see guys like Jordan Hicks who are coming back from injury and are throwing 101 miles per hour and throwing 5 feet off the strike zone, or these relievers that the Nationals have who are, throwing 20 feet off the zone, 98 miles per hour and high and in, that's an issue. And if that's the case, they should be ejected from the game because that's unsafe. Like, it's one thing if they're getting hit in the stomach or the leg, but the head, yeah, that's an issue. I mean, unless they're like 4 feet tall, but keep in mind, guys like Pete Alonso, they're 6'3", 6'4". Your range is really that bad? Listen, I'd probably wind up. I mean, hey, if I was a pitcher, I'd probably hit the first baseman knowing my arm. But, I get it. They're major leaguers. They're going to mess up. I understand that. But MLB really has to change this, and it's good. I heard that the New York Mets and an executive from Major League Baseball will be meeting, I think, tomorrow or later this week. So that's needed because this is serious. I mean, how's it going to end? I mean, we saw this, and I think the benches clearing brawl should be enough to MLB. Okay, let's get our shit together. Either someone's going to get really hurt and hospitalized. I mean, we had Pete Alonso get drilled in the head twice. Francisco Lindor get drilled in the head once. I mean, keep in mind, we saw what happened with Kevin Pillar last year. Remember, he got drilled in the head last year? So, point is, MLB has to do something about this. Like, I'm not going to say, guys are no longer going to get hit. That's impossible. They're going to get hit. But not at this much of a thing. And I don't know why it really is the Mets. I really don't know. Like, I was looking, like, is it their stance? Is it the pitches mainly? Like, it's not just sliders. They're getting hit by fastballs, breaking balls, changeups. It's not just sliders. Like with J.D. Davis, that was a slider down. I just think that was a crappy pitch, honestly, in terms of the Cardinals side. I don't think that was intentional. But I think the Juan Lopez one was definitely an FU yesterday. But it didn't even hit him, so who cares? I don't want to say that. But, I don't like to come on here, trash talk, MLB teams. But, when the Cardinals are saying, this is dangerous that Arenado almost got hit. Bro, you didn't see what happened to Starling Marte, J.D. Davis, and Pete Alonso? And Brandon Nimmo almost drilled yesterday, but he ducked out of it. That's almost 4 guys in one series. I mean, come on. 19 in 20 games, that's a record. But we'll see. Eric's, what's going on? He asked how I'm doing. I'm doing all right. Not bad. Living the dream. Cal says, what should the Mets do with Robinson Cano? Yeah, I mean, for starters, stop giving Cano this much playing time. I really don't like to see Cano get this much playing time, in my opinion. I don't think Cano is, like I said, I think Cano's kind of done with it. He has no power. I mean, we've been seeing so much Cano just hit little bloopers to the first base foul side. I think his power is kind of gone. I mean, he's not clutch anymore from what it seems. I mean, we saw him in game 1, 9th inning. The biggest thing he didn't do was crown into a double play. It was good that he got a pop-up because double play would have ended the game. So personally, I don't really care much for Cano anymore. Maybe is more of a coaching role, okay. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, I would like to see him in the lineup. In my opinion, start to give Dom Smith more reps at DH. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, J.D. Davis is tough because the dude could barely hit a fastball. So I don't know. Like I said, I mean, you wait for Mark Vientos. I get it. Vientos isn't having the best season down in A-ball. But I mean, he usually starts off like that. So we'll see. The DH role is definitely one thing I would like the Mets to kind of work on with, I guess you could say, in the future. So we'll have to see how that goes with that. Yeah, otherwise we'll see. Seth says, what has been the Mets' biggest strength and weakness so far? Well, strength seems to be hitting with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. And I guess weakness, probably the bullpen. Or getting hit by pitches. Paul, what's going on? Good fight? Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting fight seeing, what was it? It took like 5 guys from the Cardinals to separate Pete Alonso. I mean, keep in mind, a lot of these guys on this team are freaking like huge. I mean, Mccann and Alonso themselves, those dudes have a ton of muscle. Walker's like 6'5", 200+ pounds. Same thing for Mcgill. I mean, Scherzer and McNeil are nuts. And then Showalter, I mean, he's the based old man. So, I mean, I would not want to be on the other side of the dugout if they're running at me. Marco says, I don't understand why Arenado and the Cardinals got annoyed that they just got one pitch high to them. The Mets got hit like 3 times this series, including one on the head. Plus, that pitch didn't even hit. Yeah, like I said, I mean, it didn't even hit him. It could have just been, I guess a shitty pitch on Lopez's end. But I agree with you. I think it kind of is pretty dumb, in my opinion, that they started all of that. I mean, Alonso got drilled the night before. He was mad, but he went to first base. Nimmo, the same game, almost got drilled in the head. He didn't care. He just took the rest of his at-bat. Marte got hit. J.D. Davis got hit in the leg on his birthday. You don't think he was upset? No. So, yeah, I don't know why Arenado got all pissy about that. We'll see. Kobe says, when the roster shrinks from 26 to 28, who goes? Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I guess you could argue probably, I think Sean Reed-Foley is one of the first to go. I would love to say Canal, but that's not going to happen. Probably some other bullpen arm. No one really crazy, I guess. Or like a Juan Lopez or someone like that, depending on how he plays. Cal says a big part of this Mets success so far can be because of Jeff McNeil. He is back to his older form. I think last year was just a mental issue. Yeah, I think the biggest thing with McNeil last year was a mental issue. I agree with you 100%. We saw McNeil last year, and he just looked completely unhappy. A lot of his press conferences, he wasn't, he just looked like, oh, the Mets won. He just didn't look happy. He looks much happier now. But regardless of that, I mean, he got rid, like I said, got rid of that launch angle nonsense swing. We haven't really seen much of the Babbitt McNeil. We have seen him, lay a couple bunts to the left field side, beat the shift a lot. We've been seeing a lot of that. We have been seeing some nice swings, though, some nice level swings. Go for some line drives, which is a little new from McNeil. So maybe we'll see some more doubles, maybe some home runs, depending what ballpark he's at. But it could be interesting. I mean, I definitely do like the Babbitt McNeil from 2019, but could be another interesting. Hey, if he gets on base, I don't really care. Traces can't believe Arenado overreacted like that. His teammates aren't getting hit in the head. Yeah, I mean, like I said, how many Cardinals got hit that series? I don't think any got hit. Sports fan says the Mets need this to start, and they need to maintain it. With Degrom out, they needed the team to step up, which they did. Buck is making a huge difference in the dugout. So far, the offseason moves have worked. The NL East is not as strong as people may think. Last 2 champs came from the NL East. But from April through September, it's not consistent. Yeah, that's a good point you bring up there. I mean, I will agree with you on that. I mean, the NL East is kind of a cruddy division. I mean, I'm not going to, sit here and say, oh, it's a really good division. It's really not the best. I mean, like you said, last year, the Braves won the World Series with 88 wins. So, it's definitely not, I guess, the best, division. I think obviously like the AL East is going to be absolutely insane. But yeah, see how it goes. Peter says, are you going to stream games this season? Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see, to be honest, when it comes to how it's going to be during the season. Obviously, my schedule is very busy now. As a college student, very busy, with schooling right now, with work, putting up extra hours, got to pay for college somehow, right? So we'll see. I'm definitely going to be doing, these streams, definitely been on really short on time these last couple weeks. And, I've been able to, find an hour or two to come on here and do these streams. And believe it or not, I haven't been able to watch all the games. I had to watch a lot of highlights, check my phone periodically. But yeah, definitely I will be hopefully maybe once the summer starts to open up for me coming, school ends next week for me. So I'm probably going to hope maybe come in, late May, June. I'm going to be traveling a lot in late May and June. So we'll see, maybe like July, August. So we'll see. But I definitely would like to. Maybe like Sunday night ESPN games. We'll see. Trey says, the big takeaway here is that the Mets organization is amazing at developing pitching talent. That's true. I will agree with you on that, Trey. I think the Mets are a really interesting team when it comes to developing pitching because, for starters, without Jacob Degrom, obviously a couple other names, Noah Syndergaard, Zach Wheeler, Tyler Mcgill, for example. Look, the Mets get a lot of guys, injured on their pitching staff. That's no secret. And the guys that get to replace them, Tyler Mcgill, David Peterson, they come up and they get the job done. David Peterson was called up in 2020. Really no large sample size to go off of. And he got the job done in 2020. Last year he wasn't the best. This year he's been picking it up a little bit. Tyler Mcgill also didn't really know much about him before and came up and he pitched phenomenal last year. Yeah, he got a little worn out, as the season went on. I understand that the innings pitch was definitely something for him, and that's all right. I understand that. But yeah, it's interesting. So I would agree with you. The Mets are an interesting team in developing pitching, and that's one thing that I hope the Mets could, pay more attention to now is their farm system. Don't get me wrong. I think the Mets do have a good farm system. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they're horrible. Maybe they're no Mariners or Marlins farm system, but they're also not the White Sox or Nationals or Phillies farm system where they only have like two guys that are actually like in the top 100 or 200 or whatever. Mets are interesting. Like they have like your big five. So I guess that could be considered Alvarez, Beatty, Mauricio, Vientos, and like Allen. But then there's also a big drop, and then you're talking about your Jalen Palmers, your Hayden Sengers, and the guys that aren't really as common, I guess you could say. So honestly, I guess the biggest thing is we're gonna have to see in regards to if the Mets can continue to do this, and I think they will. Going for the foreign draft, I think will be interesting. Obviously, scouting. The Mets want to start scouting in Asia a little bit more. I will say that's something that the Wilpons definitely lacked on was the scouting department, especially in Asia. So hopefully they can continue that. Merlin, for what's going on? He says you just watching on the bus, got back from school. Hopefully you had a good day, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Cal, what's going on? Cal says MLB needs to do something about hitting by pitches. Yep, likewise, man. Trey says Francisco Lindor will be mic'd up on Sunday Night Baseball this weekend as the Mets play the Phillies. Oh, that's cool. I did see that Harper, because he was on Sunday Night Baseball last week, and they'll be on it again, and he was mic'd up. And I'm guessing they nominate someone. I didn't know the players nominated someone. I thought it was kind of just given random. So Harper nominated Lindor. To be honest, as much as I love Lindor, I'd rather it not be him because I feel like he's been mic'd up like the last 5 times. So I kind of I would have rather see like McNeil or maybe some other guys that kind of new to the team, get to know him a bit more, but I'll take it. Elliot says, big mistake, MLB teams passing on Buck for years. He deserves to win. It's time. Absolutely. A lot of people, I guessing, just never really were big on Showalter, and I don't really know why. I'm guessing they felt that he was old school, anti-analytical, and that he just wasn't really meant for the job. And I guess they were kind of proven wrong. I guess he really was proven for the job to an extent. So interesting there. Yeah, I agree with you. Showalter, we'll see how it is. That's early in the season. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, Showalter's, the GOAT. Well, we'll see. But he's looking good now. Yeah, hopefully you did hear what I said, Ruben, but definitely trying to implement, players that are pitching like crazy, to be, kicked out from the game due to, safety issues, obviously should be something. Stop changing the damn baseballs. Kobe says Cano hasn't been off to a good start. So who do you think will get more playing time at the DH spot? Davis or Smith? Probably Dom Smith. Like I said, you could always vary it on lefty righty. Right, Davis against righties, Smith against lefties could be something. Obviously, I think the biggest thing with JD Davis is not being able to hit a fastball. But the opposite field power has been showing up a little bit with Davis, so I'll give him that. So we'll see. Franco, Cardinals fan, says good series, bro. Yeah, you too, man. Good series. I mean, regardless of what happened yesterday, that's all water under the bridge now. I will say definitely you guys put up a good fight yesterday. A good fight in game one. And Cardinals, yeah, I think the Cardinals will definitely have a good year this season. I mean, we'll see the Cardinals again, I think, like mid-May at Citi Field. So should be a good matchup. Trey says, Eric Chavez really helps this team. Best numbers with 2 outs and driving in runs. Yeah, I will say, I mean, Chavez has really helped out this team with clutch hitting with runners in scoring position. And I'm just thrilled that that's the case. I mean, who would have thought, like last year, I'll tell you, game 1 of this Cardinal series, no way the Mets would have won that last year. They would have not won that at all. So that's just really, really good to see. Really is. Elliot says, favorite City Connect jerseys. That's a good question. In terms of my favorite City Connect jerseys, probably the Marlins. Game 1 was crazy. Yeah, it absolutely was, Peter. Should MLB implement a pitch clock? Absolutely, they should. Pitch clock, I mean, yes. Peter says game 1's comeback was crazy. Mets down to their last strike and put up 5 runs. Would have never saw that last year. Absolutely. Karen, what's going on? Truly the next Jacob Degrom. Mcgill is filthy. Nice velocity. Hopefully he could reach 100 by the end of the season. Yeah, McGill's been looking good. I'll give him that. McGill's been a really nice a nice addition, I will say, to this Mets team. Yeah, we really come by surprise. Cal says, when do you picture Jacob Degrom coming back to the rotation? Not till June. I mean, you got to keep in mind with Degrom, he's going to need a spring training. So he's going to need plenty of time to reevaluate and get his stuff back together. So honestly, we're probably not going to see Degrom back till June, early to mid-June. So we'll see. Marcus says, good to see the Mets offense from catchers picking up Mccann, Anovito, or Star and Tipor. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not like crazy about catchers offense because we have the DH, but you don't want them to be an automatic out. I mean, you look at some teams. I mean, last year, Salvador Perez had a phenomenal season as a catcher. I mean, listen, I'm not saying the Mets are going to have Mike Piazza. I mean, I think the next thing to that for them, for their hopes, could be Francisco Alvarez, but we'll see how it goes. Time will be the biggest thing. We wait until Alvarez. So yeah, going to be pretty interesting. So probably going to call it a stream here. We're at the 40-minute mark. Kind of want to just do a short stream. I do have a couple other things to do, so I definitely do appreciate you guys tuning in as always. LFGM. Yeah, as always, like I said, smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about this channel, and of course, LFGM. Hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel, LFGM. Super exciting. Let's see how this New York Mets team could play ahead. Hopefully they can get some stuff rolling. 3 games against the Philadelphia Phillies. This is going to be a big series for them. Super exciting. Let's go Mets. Appreciate you guys for tuning into the stream. Till next time, baseball fans. See ya.